Hello and welcome to Halloween Horror Haul Part 2. So if you haven't seen Halloween Horror Haul Part 1, doesn't really matter, you can watch them in either order. If you did watch Part 1, you may remember me saying some of the items had not yet arrived. Well, now they have arrived, so I thought, well, we may as well do a Halloween Horror Haul Part 2. So, if you're not familiar with the concept, it's very simple. A load of small packages have arrived. We're going to open them up and see what's turned up. That's simple. So, let's get going. Not as many items this time, because obviously, most of them were in the first video. If you haven't seen the first video, you might want to go and check it out. So, we'll start off with this little one here, which I'm going to guess is a manga volume. And it is in fact a manga volume, Dark Gathering Volume 2. Oh, this is good. So I got Volume 1 just to check it out because it sounded interesting and it was pretty good. There's three main characters. There's a guy who had some weird supernatural experience and turned into a sort of ghost or spirit magnet and then spent a year being a lock-in. And then there's two girls, one of whom is a friend of his from school, and she convinces him to become a tutor for her younger cousin, who was the only survivor of a car accident that killed her parents, and since then she can see ghosts. And when the accident happened, she saw some supernatural creature taking her mother's spirit away. It was very good. I enjoyed Volume 1 very much, hence why I've got Volume 2. So there's our first item, Dark Gathering Volume 2. Next up we've got a little flat thing, which I'm guessing is probably something in the trade paperback line. Is the tear off going to tear off? It is. And it is... Oh, okay. I kind of wondered what this was going to be exactly. So this is Decades, Marvel in the 70s, Legion of Monsters. So this one says here, celebrate 80 years of Marvel Comics decade by decade. Groovy ghouls of the supernatural 70s. It was an era of black and white magazines filled with macabre monsters and unsettling new titles starring horror-themed heroes. Now thrill to Marvel's greatest horror icons, the melancholy muck monster known as the Man-Thing, Morbius the living vampire, Jack Russell cursed to be a werewolf by night, and the flame-skulled spirit of vengeance Ghost Rider. But what happens when they're forced together to become the Legion of Monsters? Plus, stories featuring Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, Amphibian, the Vampire Hunter Blade, and never before reprinted Tales of Terror. And then it's got down here, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's in this particular volume. Legion of Monsters, Marvel Preview, Marvel Premiere, Marvel Spotlight, Tomb of Dracula, and Frankenstein. So we've got a bunch of reprints of Marvel stories from the 70s, which are featuring monstery characters, some of whom are characters like Dracula and Frankenstein, who obviously are in public domain. Amphibian, who obviously it's meant to be creature from the Black Lagoon, who they could not use because he was not in public domain. Plus, of course, all of Marvel's own kind of horror icons, Blade and Morbius and all the others already mentioned. So, that is our Decades Marvel in the 70s, Legion of Monsters. That's going to be interesting to read. And next up, we've got a squishy, which must be a t-shirt. So let's see if I can cut this open without cutting the t-shirt up. Okay. Ooh. So we have got... Oh yes, this looks nice. So we have got a Bride of Frankenstein t-shirt there. If you can see that. With Frankenstein's monster in the background, and there's the bride in the foreground with her massive hair, which was actually her hair. They made a kind of wire mesh cage and fitted it to her head, and then basically combed and brushed all her hair over the cage, and then stuck the white stripes on it. So there's a Bride of Frankenstein t-shirt. I'm loving that. That is one of my favourite old school horrors as well, Bride of Frankenstein. And then we've got another little one that might be another manga. Out you come. And we've got, Tokyo Ghoul Volume 2, which says Forbidden Planet 3 for 2. I don't remember getting it from Forbidden Planet, but that's where it must have come from at some point. So this was, here we are. Ghouls live amongst us, the same as normal people in every way except their craving for human flesh. And it's about this character called Kaneki, and he has an encounter with a ghoul which turns him into the first half-human, half-ghoul hybrid. First one was quite interesting, so I thought I'd pick up a second one, and for some reason this seems to be a bigger size than usual manga. I don't remember if my volume 1 is the same size as that, but there we go, Tokyo Ghoul. I'll have to check and see. And let's see what we got here. That's another trade paperback. Okay, this is Witches, with a weird spelling, with a Y. Witches. So again, this is one. This is volume 1. And this is Scott Snyder, I think. So this is another one I have not read, but this one keeps cropping up when I'm looking at things online, recommendations and reviews and things. This keeps cropping up as a good one to read, as a good horror one or supernatural one, and it basically involves witches. What's this? When the Rooks family moves to the remote town of Litchfield, New Hampshire to escape a haunting trauma, they're hopeful about starting over, but something evil is waiting for them in the woods just beyond town, watching from the trees, ancient and hungry. So I think there's that, and then there's a bunch of witches in it as well. So I'm looking forward to reading that. We've got another squishy, which could be another t-shirt. Well, it must be another t-shirt. I can't think what else it would be. What have we got? Oh, we've got something special here. Oh, that looks marvellous. We have got, now a lot of you are not going to know what on earth this is. We have got a Hookjaw t-shirt. So for those of you that are sitting there going, what the hell's Hookjaw? In Britain, in the 70s, there was a comic called Action, which lasted about 18 months and then got banned because politicians decided it was too scary for kids. And all the kids thought, wow, this is brilliant. And the star of Action was a shark called Hookjaw, who was a big rip-off of Jaws, basically. Shark with a hook through its jaw, hence the name, who basically swam around eating people. That was it. And remarkably, they managed to make a whole bunch of stories out of that one thing, a shark swimming around eating people, for 18 months. So that's fantastic. That was not expecting to be able to get hold of Hookjaw t-shirts, I have to say, and then one just suddenly popped up from nowhere. If you want to get one yourself, there's someone on eBay that does them. There's about 4 different designs. Now when I went to get mine, they didn't have my size in the colour I wanted, because they do a whole bunch of different colour t-shirts. So I had to have a hunt round on Google. So have a look on eBay, and if you can't find it there, just give it a Google. So Hookjaw t-shirt, fantastic. And here's the last item. It's a box. Hopefully it's okay. Unlike that one we had in the first video, which got kind of squished. And oh, I see what this is. I see what this is. And we've got a bit of bubble wrap just to snip off. And this is kind of, I mean, not really horror, I guess, or maybe it is, depending on your point of view. We have got a couple of little vinyl figures, which are twice the size I thought they were going to be, of Hellboy and Abe Sapien. He was also from Hellboy. They look really nice. These, I think these are, I was going to say these are Funko, because I thought they were Funko, but they don't seem to have Funko. Oh yes, they are, yes. Funko, just Funko vinyl. And unlike the Pops, these don't have big round heads. These have got big sort of conical heads. Oh, they look really cool. So Hellboy and Abe Sapien there, that's fantastic. Right, so what did we get in our part 2? We got our Hellboy vinyl figures featuring Hellboy and Abe Sapien, which I'm really liking the look of. They look really cool. We got our Hookjaw t-shirt. We got our Bride of Frankenstein t-shirt. Loving both of those. We got Witches trade paperback. We got our Decades Marvel in the 70s trade paperback, and we got a couple of volumes of manga, Dark Gathering Volume 2 and Tokyo Ghoul Volume 2. So that is it for our Halloween Horror Haul Part 2 opening. That is it. That is our Halloween Horror Haul for the year, because that's everything I ordered. If people like it, I may very well do one next year as well. In the meantime, however, that is it for this video. Until next time, remember, hit the thumbs up below, and I will see you in the next one.